Welcome to the Dupont Cellulosic Ethanol Facility, or commonly referred to as DCE. This video is intended to inform visitors of proper health and safety regulations while on site. Dupont is committed to zero accidents and incidents, and we firmly believe that all accidents are preventable. Emphasizing and encouraging safe behavior is an important part of creating a safe workplace, which is why DCE employees conduct routine behavior safety audits to encourage continuous safety performance improvement for our employees, contractors, and guests.
Contractors and visitors are required to follow all DuPont site health and safety policies, as well as all applicable OSHA, EPA, and Iowa regulations while on site. All permits, forms, and standard operating procedures, or SOPs, required to conduct your work will be communicated to you through the work permit process or by your DuPont host. While on site, everyone is expected to follow the direction of all signs and information tags at all times. DCE requires that anyone working inside the facility understands and wears the proper personal protective equipment, or PPE, at all times. DuPont will provide PPE to all of its employees and visitors. While you are visiting our facility, you are required to wear a hard hat, safety glasses with side shields, appropriate gloves, and safety shoes while in working areas on site. High visibility flame resistant or FR clothing with a minimum rating of HRC2 is required anytime you are within the processing areas. Contractors working on site are required to provide their own PPE. However, contractor PPE must meet all applicable standards and are subject to DCE site approval before and during use. Hearing protection is required where indicated by signage, blue painted lines, or if specific equipment is loud enough that you must elevate your voice to carry on a normal conversation. Primary hearing protection devices must have a noise reduction rating of NRR or 29 or greater. Additional PPE above and beyond site basic PPE may be required in some areas and some situations. These additional requirements will be defined by site procedure, will be indicated on associated work permits, and may be indicated by additional area signage. During no point while working inside the plant is loose clothing, neckties, or loose-fitting jewelry allowed to be worn. Long pants are also required in all working areas at all times. All roads must be kept clear at all times. Park only where permitted by DCE personnel. Parking should be in locations that do not affect other traffic or work areas. Do not leave vehicles running while unattended. Leave keys in parked vehicles on site to allow movement, if needed, by DuPont personnel. Pedestrians have the right of way at all times, except when emergency response vehicles are active. All employees, contractors, and guests are to ride only in seats designed for human use. Riding in cargo areas or other locations on a vehicle without a seat is never permitted. When a vehicle is in motion, all occupants must wear a seatbelt. Cell phones are never to be utilized by the driver while operating any motorized vehicle. All mobile equipment operators must be successfully trained to operate any mobile equipment.
To ensure the safety of all employees, contractors, and visitors, it's extremely important to report all safety incidents to the DuPont leadership immediately. All spills and near misses also need to be reported immediately. Should an incident occur, DuPont and associated contractors are required to begin the incident investigation process within 24 hours of an incident. All emergencies must be reported to the Site Emergency Response Team, or ERT, immediately. The ERT can be contacted by plant radio, calling the Plant Central Control Room, or CCR, at 441-8060, or by utilizing one of the emergency pull stations. Emergency pull stations, like this one, activate the alarm system and are located strategically throughout the facility.
At DCE, there are several types of alarms you may hear in case of an emergency or accident. Each alarm tone will be followed by a brief description announced over the plant loudspeaker system.
In case of severe weather, you will hear the following tone.
If this alarm is sounded, additional instructions will be given directly over the plant loudspeaker system on how to proceed. The severe weather shelter is located in the CCR building near the southeast corner of the plant. If the ammonia alarm is activated,
ammonia release.
Move to the nearest assembly point for personnel accounting.
Be sure to utilize the site windsocks to ensure your route of travel to the assembly point is not downwind of the release point.
In case of an alarm, including drills, all work is to stop and all personnel are to report to the nearest primary assembly point and report with the account manager at that location, either the CCR or the administrative building. All work should be stopped until the all clear is sounded.
All clear.
First aid kits and AEDs are located throughout the plant. Safety showers and eye wash stations, such as this one, are located throughout the facility and labs. There are 3 different types of fire extinguishers in the facility: ABC, B-type, and alcohol foam type extinguishers. Be sure to identify the nearest extinguisher located near your workstation. The Nevada DCE facility includes several process areas which are covered by the requirements of OSHA 1910.119, the Process Safety Management Regulation. These areas include anhydrous ammonia storage and distribution and ethanol distillation. The site utilizes many different additional chemicals. Some of these present hazards are managed by our site PSM and safety procedures. Those chemicals include sulfuric acid and sodium hydroxide. Additionally, natural gas is used with utilities, and combustible dust hazards are present in the stover processing, co-product dryer, and loadout areas. Steam is generated on and is present throughout the site. A confined space entry permit is required before entering any required confined space. Confined spaces are labeled at or near entryways and will be indicated on the work permit. All welding, torching, grinding, or any spark producing is required to have a hot work permit approved prior to starting hot work. Before breaking into any pipes or pressurized lines, a line break lockout permit must be approved by DCE personnel. Lock, tag, clear, try requirements are defined in Site Procedure PRS01 and will be communicated in the work permit process. Electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, or any other potential energy source within your work scope must be controlled per this procedure. No work may be conducted on site before first meeting the requirements of this procedure. Fall protection devices, such as this harness, are required when a person is working or elevated more than 6 feet above the ground floor. Employees must be tied off with appropriate fall protection equipment 100% of the time. Be careful to tie off to a steel structure capable of holding 5,000 pounds. Any steel pipe greater or equal to 3 inches is acceptable. Conduit, copper, PVC pipes, or sprinkler lines are not acceptable tie-off points. When using a ladder, it's important to maintain 3-point contact, such as this employee here. Always face the ladder and never work from the top step. If working at a height greater than 6 feet, fall protection is required. When possible, tie off the ladder or have a spotter hold the base. All chemicals that are brought on site must be approved by the site Safety, Health, and Environmental Manager before being brought on site the first time. SDS submittal is required for each chemical. All hazardous chemicals must be properly labeled and stored while in use on plant. Unused chemicals must be taken back off-site. Spill kits to clean up chemical and oil spills are available. All spills must be reported to DCE personnel immediately and should be controlled and cleaned up as quickly as possible.
Cell phones are not allowed in the processing areas without advance permission of DCE leadership. This is due to electrical classifications, equipment classifications, and to prevent distractions. Cameras are not allowed anywhere inside the plant without written permission of DCE leadership.
Cell phones should be left in personal vehicles or turned into the office before proceeding into the plant. Only intrinsically safe two-way radios and electronics are allowed in electrically classified areas. No tobacco products of any kind are permitted on site. This includes cigarettes, chewing tobacco, snuff, and e-cigarettes or vapes. Barricading is an important safety communication and protection tool utilized here on site and is defined in Site Procedure PRS-03. Barricades must be respected at all times. Yellow and black barricading indicates caution. These areas should be avoided unless your work requires entry. Entry into a barricaded area is only permitted if you have met the requirements for entry defined on the barricade tag located at the barricade gate. Red and black barricading indicates warning or immediate danger. You must not enter unless specific clearance is given by the owning organization. Food and drink may be eaten in designated locations only. Those areas are the CCR break room and offices, the administration building, and any contractor administration area specifically designated for that purpose.
We have just completed the safety tour of the Nevada Dupont facility. Thank you for taking the time to observe all of the safety, health, and environmental requirements. Remember that with proper awareness, all accidents can be prevented. Enjoy your visit.